Look up in the night sky. What do you see? Stars, planets, maybe even a satellite or two. That familiar scene has been a constant in human life for as long as we've existed. But occasionally, something extraordinary appears. A comet streaking across the heavens, an event so rare it seems almost magical. Imagine seeing such a spectacle 12,000 years ago. You're part of a small group of hunter-gatherers, moving from place to place, following the rhythms of nature. Life is hard, but you are strong, adaptable, part of a close-knit community. Suddenly, the sky puts on a show like no other. A bright, fuzzy object trails across the darkness, leaving a glittering wake. Fear and wonder grip you. What does it mean? Is it a bad omen or a message from the gods? You don't know. But like many others throughout history, you're about to draw some profound conclusions. This is not just a random event, it's a sign, a signal that heralds big changes. And the most incredible part, you won't be alone in interpreting it. Throughout prehistory, people across the globe, separated by oceans and cultures, would witness comets and come to similar conclusions. Each sighting would leave its mark, sparking myths, inspiring art, and subtly influencing the course of human history. But why would these ancient people, without scientific knowledge, believe that a comet's appearance was significant? The answer lies in the very nature of these icy wanderers from afar. Comets are unpredictable, appearing only once every few hundred or thousand years. They're like celestial messengers arriving with news from distant realms. To our ancient ancestors, living in a world where daily life was a constant struggle for survival, such regularity must have seemed almost divine. In a world without calendars, without clocks, they relied on natural cycles to keep time. The seasons, the phases of the moon, and now comets too, all played a role. These celestial omens wove themselves into the fabric of their lives, shaping their beliefs and practices. In essence, comets served as both alarm and guide, alerting them to potential challenges like an impending ice age, and also pointing them towards new opportunities for survival and prosperity. Picture this. Your group has followed a comet's path to a new hunting ground, only to find it more bountiful than they could have imagined. Success like this, guided by a celestial visitor, reinforces their belief in the wisdom of the cosmos. Over time, this belief would grow, solidifying comets as significant figures in their world. It's a testament to the human spirit, our innate desire to understand the world around us, even in the face of the unknown. As we continue to explore the universe, we're still driven by that same curiosity, seeking answers in the stars, just as our ancestors did thousands of years ago. Now, let's think about something wild. Back in 2019, when NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft touched down on the surface of an asteroid named Bennu, it didn't just take amazing pictures. It actually collected bits of that asteroid, kind of like collecting space rocks. And guess what? One of the main ingredients in these rocks is carbon, just like our planet. This asteroid was rich in carbon. It turns out that asteroids like Bennu used to be part of a much bigger space body until something big, maybe a planet or maybe even a star, smashed into it and broke it apart. Some pieces fell to Earth, bringing valuable stuff like carbon along with them. Maybe life on Earth got a head start thanks to these space visitors. Scientists are super excited about this idea and are working hard to figure it out. Imagine that, billions of years ago, our planet was a hot mess, much like today. But then suddenly, bam, a big space rock showed up and delivered some of the key ingredients for life. Pretty exciting, right? It reminds us that we're part of something much bigger, a cosmic story that began billions of years ago and is still unfolding today. So remember, friends, when you gaze up at the stars, remember that you're connected to a grand narrative that stretches back to the beginning of time. Your story is woven into the tapestry of the cosmos, and your journey is part of an even greater adventure. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and never stop marveling at the wonders of the universe. Who knows, you might just discover that your story is even more incredible than you ever imagined. Picture Africa around 3.9 million years ago. Lush, tropical forests stretched across much of the continent, punctuated by open grasslands. Here and there, a clearing revealed a lone acacia tree, silhouetted against the sky. At the edge of a forest stood a group of our ancestors, They were part of a larger primate group, the hominins, which included great apes like chimpanzees and bonobos. They were not apes themselves. However, they were Australopithecines, a term that encompasses several species of extinct primates that lived in Africa from around 4 million to those million years ago. Our ancestors were not the only Australopithecines. There were dozens of species, each adapted to their environment, each with its own story to tell. Let's get to know them. Australopithecus afarensis is probably the most famous, thanks to the famous fossil nicknamed Lucy, unearthed in Ethiopia in 1976. Lucy and her species were small, about 4 feet tall, with brains roughly the same size as a chimpanzee's. But here's the key. They were fully bipedal. They walked upright on 2 legs, not just occasionally, but as their primary means of getting around. They were incredibly agile, climbing and leaping effortlessly through the trees. This dual life, walking upright on the ground and scaling trees with ease, was a defining feature of us. They were not stuck in the trees like lemurs, nor were they fully on the ground like us. They straddled both worlds, exploiting the resources of both. The hands were strong and flexible, perfect for brachiating, swinging from branch to branch. Yet their feet were flat and flexible too, ideal for walking. Their thumbs were opposable, enabling them to grip branches firmly, but they lacked the precision grip of modern humans. Lucy and her kin were not anatomically modern, but they were remarkably adapted, perfectly suited for their environment. Imagine their days beginning before sunrise as they left the safety of the trees to forage for food. The ground was littered with fallen fruit and ripe berries. They used their keen eyesight and sense of smell to find the best patches. They plucked fruit from bushes, crunched berries between their teeth, and used their nimble hands to peel back the skin of tubers. They were careful to avoid dangerous predators, relying on their speed and agility to escape. When night fell, they returned to the comforting embrace of the trees, sleeping curled up with their family group, ready to do it all again tomorrow. But while they were experts in their environment, we don't think they were particularly sociable. Fossils suggest that Australopithecines lived in groups, but their social interactions were likely tense and possibly violent. Male Australopithecines were slightly larger than females, but neither were physically capable of throwing a spear or wielding a club. Their weaponry of choice, their teeth. The canines were large and sharp, perfect for inflicting damage during fights within and between groups. As Lucy herself shows, evidence of a nasty bite mark on her face. Life, for Australopithecines, wasn't easy. They shared their environment with saber-toothed cats, hyenas, and even early crocodiles. The occasional drought or flood could wipe out food sources, forcing groups to move in search of sustenance. Disease and parasites also took their toll. Life expectancy was low, averaging about 20 years. And yet, despite these hardships, they persisted. Australopithecines thrived for over 1 million years, but around 2 million years ago, they began to disappear. Their story doesn't end here, though some argue that they simply evolved into other hominin species. Others believe that they went extinct, killed off by changing environments, or outcompeted by more adaptable creatures. Whatever the reason, their legacy lives on in the fossils they left behind, in the footprints they imprinted in stone, and in the story of humanity they helped write. Australopithecines were not our direct ancestors, but they were our cousins, our distant relatives on the vast tree of life. They remind us that the story of humanity's not a straight line, but a complex web of adaptation, change, and survival. And as we continue our journey through time, we must remember that each step, no matter how small, brought us one step closer to who we are today. Now let's talk about something that really excites me. Our incredible community. I am blown away by the amazing people who support this channel. You are the backbone of what we do, making it possible for more people to learn about our amazing history. If you're not a member yet and you want to join this incredible community, click the link below. Your support helps us make more videos like this one. So, thank you. Picture a vast plain. The sun beats down on the grasses that wave lazily in the breeze. In the distance, the hazy outline of a termite mound rises like a miniature mountain, and scattered across this golden landscape are remnants of the past, discarded stones that glisten like fallen stars, and an occasional shard of bone that whispers tales of creatures that once roamed these lands. This is the Mokopenskat area in South Africa, a place that echoes with the footsteps of our ancient ancestors. Here, in this cradle of human history, a groundbreaking discovery was made in 1925 that forever altered our understanding of the past. It was here that Raymond Dart, a South African physician and anatomist, unearthed the skull of a child who lived around 2.6 million years ago. This was no ordinary find. It was the first undeniable evidence of an ancient relative of ours, right here in southern Africa. This child belonged to a group known as Australopithecines, a term coined by Dart himself, meaning southern ape. Dart initially named this particular individual the Tongbaby, after the Tong region where it was found. However, the significance of this discovery soon transcended its geographical origins. The Tongbaby became a pivotal piece of the puzzle, helping us trace the intricate tapestry of our ancestry. You might have heard of the Tongbaby. You might know about the incredible journey of its discovery. But what if we told you there's much more to this story? Stories that have been hiding in plain sight. Join us as we uncover secrets from the Tongbaby that have remained hidden for centuries. Stories that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about our past. In the heart of South Africa, nestled amidst rolling grasslands and ancient rock formations, lies a place that holds the key to our ancestral past. The cradle of humankind. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is not just a pretty patch of landscape. It's a treasure trove of hominin fossils, the closest relatives of humans that include Australopithecines, and eventually our own species, Homo sapiens. It is here in this remarkable region that we find the remnants of countless lives that existed millions of years ago. Within the cradle, the Sterkfontein Caves stand as silent sentinels of time. These subterranean chambers have yielded some of the most important pieces of our evolutionary history. It was here in the dark, echoing depths of these caves that thousands of fossils were discovered, offering us a glimpse into the lives and times of our ancestors. Among these treasures, a partial skull and a single jawbone fragment stand out as crucial pieces of the Australopithecine puzzle. What's truly fascinating is that these remains, along with other discoveries from various sites make up the richest collection of early hominin fossils on the entire planet. The sheer concentration of these ancient remains points to a past where life teemed and evolved in ways we are only beginning to understand. These cave systems preserve a remarkable record of at least 20 different hominin species, each playing its part in the grand narrative of our evolution. Among them are iconic names like Australopithecus africanus, the robust and resourceful relative of Lucy, and Paranthropus robustus, the strong, large-toothed dweller of the caves. But it's the story of Australopithecus sediba, a relatively new kid on the block, that truly captivates. This species, thought to have lived between 2 million and 1.8 million years ago, is a compelling mix of primitive and advanced traits, with features like a sloping forehead and a receding chin reminiscent of earlier hominins. Alongside a smaller brain cavity, it embodies a unique chapter in our lineage. The discovery of these fossils has led to an array of interpretations, sparking lively debates among scientists. Some argue that a sediba represents an earlier phase of human evolution, showcasing traits we might have recognized in our common ancestor with other great apes. Others believe it marks a significant step towards the Homo genus, emphasizing its potential role in our direct lineage. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of Australopithecus sediba, we encounter intriguing questions. What was daily life like for these hominins in the caves and on the open plains? How did they adapt to environmental changes? And what challenges did they face? Unraveling these mysteries not only broadens our understanding of our past, but also deepens our appreciation for the complexities of the evolutionary journey that brought us to where we are today. Our journey through time takes us to a place where the boundaries of possibility are pushed to the limits, to the very edges of what it means to be human. We meet a mysterious individual, a hominin unlike any other. Its brain is smaller than modern humans, yet it exhibits an astounding ability to control and manipulate fire. This being blurs the lines between our ancient past and the dawn of human civilization. But that's not all. These hominins, with their small stature and ape-like facial features, challenge conventional notions of human evolution. They raise profound questions about what sets us apart and what connects us to the rich diversity of life on Earth. Were they our ancestors or distant cousins? Did they walk upright or move in more primal ways? These enigmatic beings serve as a reminder that the story of human evolution is far from static. It's a dynamic, ever-evolving narrative that invites us to challenge our assumptions and embrace the unknown. As we explore the mysteries of the fire-wielding hominin and its hominid companions, we find ourselves at the crossroads of multiple narratives, each contributing to the grand tapestry of our existence. Their influence echoed through millennia, shaping the course of our species and leaving an indelible mark on the world we inhabit today. In the heart of Johannesburg, amidst the bustling city life, lies a treasure trove of the past, the University of the Witwatersrand's Evolutionary Studies Institute. It is here that a team of dedicated researchers and academics led by the renowned Lee Berger are on the brink of a breakthrough in unraveling the secrets of our ancient relatives. Their focus: Australopithecus sediba. Using cutting-edge technology and a wealth of fossil evidence, they're piecing together the story of a species that once called the Earth home. The team's dedication knows no bounds. They meticulously analyze the delicate structure of bones, seeking to unlock the mysteries of movement and behavior. Through their tireless efforts, Australopithecus sediba is coming to life, revealing its habits, lifestyle, and the very essence of its existence. With each new discovery, the team delves deeper into understanding the unique characteristics of this hominin. They examine the telltale signs of tool use, the evidence of social interaction, and the adaptations that allowed this species to thrive in a world that was constantly evolving. But it's not just about uncovering the secrets of the past. It's about connecting with our roots, acknowledging the incredible journey that brought our species to where it is today. As we learn more about our ancient ancestors, we gain a deeper appreciation for the forces that shaped us, the challenges they faced, the adaptations they developed, and the contributions they made to the grand narrative of life on Earth. By understanding their story, we come to understand our own. So join us in this remarkable endeavor as we explore the groundbreaking work happening at the University of the Witwatersrand's Evolutionary Studies Institute. Together, we can marvel at the wonders of our evolutionary past and celebrate the incredible journey that continues to unfold. In the corridors of the Origins Center, nestled within the walls of the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa, lies a trove of ancient secrets. It is here, amidst the hushed whispers of scientific exploration, that the captivating story of the Tong baby comes to life. The Origins Center is more than just a building. It's a portal to the past, an invitation to explore the very beginnings of our existence. As you step inside, you're greeted by a world where science and wonder intertwine. Exhibits come to life, showcasing the incredible journey of human evolution. Among them, the Tong baby holds a place of honor, its story etched in every artifact, every image, every word. The center becomes a stage where the past dances with the present. It's a testament to the power of discovery and the relentless human spirit of exploration. And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to check out the next one, which delves into another fascinating chapter of our shared history. Click here to continue your journey through time and uncover more secrets of our fascinating past. The river of human life carries us forward. Once again, we leave behind the grasslands, where Lucy and her kind Australopithecus took their first fragile steps upright. They taught us to stand tall, to see over the grasses, to carry food and children in our hands. But now, the current brings us to a new age. The forests have thinned further, the savannas stretch wider, and survival demands more than just legs and sharp eyes. And here, around 2 million years ago, a new figure emerges from the shadows of Their name, given much later by scientists, is Homo habilis the handyman. And they were about to unlock one of the most powerful secrets in the story of evolution: the making of tools. Imagine a world without tools. No knives, no hammers, no needles. Just bare hands, soft skin, and fragile nails against the unyielding toughness of bone and wood. That was the world before Homo habilis. But one day, perhaps by accident, perhaps by intention, a stone struck another stone, and a sharp edge splintered off. That edge was unlike anything else in nature. It could slice, cut, pierce. In that moment, the earth itself gave humanity its first weapon, its first helper, its first invention. Homo habilis did not invent fire, not yet. They did not build houses, not yet, but they carried with them stones shaped by their own hands. Stones that could carve flesh from a carcass left behind by lions. Stones that could crack open the thick bones of antelopes to reveal marrow, rich and fat and energy. Stones that could strip bark, cut roots, and prepare food. For the first time, survival was not just about reacting to nature. It was about reshaping it. Let's walk into their camp. It is simple, no huts, no firelights, only a circle of individuals huddled together beneath the open sky or under a canopy of branches. A freshly killed zebra lies on the ground, its ribs torn open not by lion's teeth, but by sharp flakes of stone wielded by Homo habilis. A mother crouches, using a tool to slice meat into strips small enough for her child to chew. A young male chips at a bone, striking again and again until it cracks, releasing the precious marrow within. Another individual gathers stones from the riverbank, choosing carefully, seeking those with just the right angle, just the right weight. The tools are crude by our standards, sharp flakes no bigger than a hand. Cores shaped by repeated blows, but in these stones lies a revolution. For the first time, intelligence is leaving a permanent mark on the world. These are not random objects found in nature, they are artifacts of thought, proof that the mind of Homo habilis was learning to shape ideas as well as stone. Brains are expensive. They demand enormous amounts of energy. For millions of years, our ancestors carried small brains because their diets and lifestyles could not support more. But now, with tools, something shifted. Meat became easier to cut and chew, marrow easier to access. Food provided more calories, more nutrients, more fat to fuel the furnace of thought. Slowly, over generations, the brains of Homo habilis began to grow. Not as large as ours, at about half the size of a modern human brain, but large enough to allow more memory, more planning, more imagination. This was the beginning of something astonishing. With every flake chipped from a stone, with every successful hunt or scavenged meal, the spark of intelligence glowed brighter. The world was no longer just a place to endure, it was a puzzle to be solved. Tools did more than feed the body. They fed the bonds between individuals. For the first time, we see evidence that food was shared. A kill was not consumed alone, but divided among the group. Children were fed by adults, not just their mothers. The old and injured may have been cared for, protected by others. This shift from every individual for themselves to a community bound by sharing was as important as the tools themselves. For with sharing came trust. With trust came cooperation, and with cooperation came survival. Picture a group of Homo habilis moving together across the savannah. Their tools clatter softly against one another as they carry them in rough hides or in their hands. They move as one, scanning the horizon. If danger approaches, a lion, a leopard, they scatter, but they regroup, returning to one another because together they are stronger. This is the seed of something we now call society. Not yet villages, not yet laws or traditions, but the beginning of human togetherness. Africa, 2 million years ago, was both a paradise and a battlefield. Herds of grazing animals, antelopes, zebras, elephants offered food, but they also drew predators. Lions, leopards, saber-toothed cats, hyenas larger than any alive today, crocodiles lurking in every river. Homo habilis was small, barely over 4 feet tall, weighing around 70 pounds. Against such predators, they were fragile. But with tools, the balance shifted. They were not yet hunters on the scale of lions, but they were clever scavengers, watching for vultures that circled above kills, then rushing in after predators left to claim what scraps remained. Their stone edges gave them access to parts of the carcass no other scavenger could reach. And sometimes, just sometimes, they may have banded together to drive off smaller predators, using numbers, noise, and sharp stones as weapons. It was a hint of the dominance humans would one day claim. We do not know what language sounded like in the age of Homo habilis. They likely could not form words as we do today. Their throats, tongues, and brains were not yet ready for full speech. But they had voices. They had cries, calls, rhythms, a warning grunt that meant danger, a soft coo to comfort a child, a sharp bark to draw attention. These sounds, paired with gestures, with a glance of an eye, with the lift of a hand, formed the first glimmers of communication. And where there is communication, there is imagination. A child learning to strike stone against stone may have laughed at the sound, imitating it again and again. A group might have remembered a successful scavenging spot, returning to it together. Memory became more than instinct, it became a shared experience, carried in minds they could recall and plan. A long time ago, around 2.6 million years back, there lived a creature named You may have heard of her. You know Lucy, the famous skeleton discovered in Ethiopia in 1976. She was one of them, a female of this species. She was about 3 feet, 9 inches tall, and walked upright on 2 legs. But don't let her height fool you. She was incredibly strong and agile. I mean, she spent most of her life in trees, leaping from branch to branch with ease. But as time went on, the world started to change. The forests receded and the grasslands grew. Lucy's descendants had to find a new way to survive. Enter Homo erectus, the upright man, the one who left Africa. Now, imagine if someone described an ape as being for 2 feet tall, super strong, walking on 2 legs and hanging out in big groups. You might picture a gorilla or a chimp. Back 10. That description fit Lucy's descendants perfectly. Homo erectus looked like us, walked like us, and behaved like us more than any other creature. Around 1.8 million years ago, they showed up on the scene. These taller, stronger, more resilient hominins, with a posture that seemed more assured, more purposeful. Where earlier ancestors had shuffled timidly through forests and grasslands, Homo erectus walked with the steady rhythm of endurance, as though they were built not just to survive in one place, but to journey across the world. They were the first true travelers of humankind. Their bodies told the story of this transformation. They had long legs, narrow hips, and a body built for running and walking great distances. Unlike Australopithecus, whose small frames kept them close to the trees, Homo erectus could cross open landscapes for days, following herds of animals, chasing the shifting seasons, and exploring rivers that carved through the earth. Their chests were strong, their strides purposeful. These were no longer fragile beings clinging to safety. They were explorers. Now, you might think, big deal. We all get a bigger stride when we go exploring. But this wasn't just a random genetic mutation. It was a sign of a whole new way of life, a change in strategy, a better way of adapting and surviving. And here's the twist. They didn't just have the body for this journey. They also had the fuel, literally. You see, their brains were bigger, capable of solving complex problems, planning ahead and learning from experience. And what did this allow them to do? To control fire. I know it sounds simple, but think about it. They could use fire for cooking, for protection, for light. It made their lives safer and more comfortable. It helped them hunt, gather food, and even ward off predators. But it also gave them something else. Fire made them social. It brought people together. They shared stories, laughter, food, and warmth around the flickering flames. It was a game changer for them, with their sturdy bodies, giant brains, and fire by their side. Homo erectus set out. First stop, the Levant region in the Middle East. Then they headed east to India, South Africa, and beyond. Some say they traveled along river valleys, following the water's flow and the lush vegetation it brought. Others believe they chased the herds of animals they hunted for food. But no matter the reason, they spread out across the globe. The migration of Homo erectus was a slow process, not a sudden movement. It took place over many, many years, maybe even centuries, but it was unstoppable. They explored, adapted, and conquered new lands, like fearless adventurers. I can't help but wonder what their world looked like. The sights, sounds, and smells that surrounded them. Did they gaze up at the stars and dream of distant worlds? Did they sing songs of bravery and adventure? Did they tell tales of their journeys around the fire? We'll probably never know, but their journey continues to inspire us. Just like them, we explore, adapt, and push our boundaries. We chase dreams, discover new lands, and conquer challenges. And like Team, we share stories, laughter, and connections around a fire. Whether it's a campfire or a dinner table, when I look at the stars, I think of Homo erectus. They were the first to wander, to explore and to dream beyond their world. They were the pioneers of humanity, so the next time you see a shooting star, make a wish. Who knows? It might just come true. This is the story of humankind. You probably already know it. It's the story you learned in school, the one where we started out in Africa, then moved across the continents, replacing or merging with other human relatives, until we ended up here, more or less, unchanged for tens of thousands of years. It's a nice story, a neat story, a simple story, but when I first heard it, something about it didn't sit right with me. It felt too straight, too narrow, too sure of itself. It didn't feel right because it wasn't true. Not really. The story of humankind is not a straight line. It's a tangled path, a palimpsest, etched with countless hands across millennia. From the footsteps of Homo erectus, many paths branched, weaving across continents, climates, and ages. Out of those branches came new species, each carrying forward the fire of survival, each shaping what it meant to be human. Among them, some would vanish into extinction, while others would leave their traces written deep in our very DNA. In the cold caves of Europe, the Neanderthals arose, stocky, powerful, with thick skulls and bigger brains than ours, perfectly adapted to the freezing winds that swept across the land. They were hunters of mammoth and bison, moving across the icy plains with spears in hand. Their bodies, broad and short, were made for power. Their legs were thick and strong. Their arms and chests were built for the exertion of great force. They crafted tools of stone and bone, more advanced than those of their ancestors. They wore hides stitched with sinew, wrapping themselves against the cold. They weren't hairless apes lumbering through the snow. They were something apart, something fierce and free. Behind those fierce exteriors, however, lay something tender. The Neanderthals cared for their sick, buried their dead, and perhaps even believed in something beyond life itself. Imagine a Neanderthal family gathered around a fire, placing flowers in the body of a fallen kin. Those gestures whisper of empathy, of love, of meaning. Farther east, another lineage thrived. The mysterious Denis. They left behind only fragments. A tooth here, a finger bone there, and traces of their DNA hidden inside modern humans. Yet in those fragments lies a story. Like their Neanderthal cousins, the Denisovans were explorers of the cold, thriving in mountain ranges and high plateaus. We cannot yet see their full lives, but in the genetic echoes they left within us, they still breathe. And then in Africa, a miracle unfolded. Around 200,000 years ago, a new species emerged, Homo sapiens, the wise human. They looked like us, thought like us, and most importantly, they imagined like us. With Homo sapiens, the slow fire of evolution suddenly flared into a blaze of creativity. Language blossomed, allowing them not only to share warnings of danger, but to tell stories, to pass on knowledge with precision, to dream aloud. With words, they could unite in ways no other species had before. Imagine a small band of early Homo sapiens standing at the edge of a savanna at dusk. One hunter gestures, speaking words that describe where the antelope will graze tomorrow. A child listens as an elder tells a story of spirits in the stars, their eyes wide with wonder. Around the fire, they no longer just survived. They envisioned. They painted animals on cave walls, not just as decoration, but perhaps as prayers, as visions of hunts, as marks of memory. They shaped tools with astonishing skill. Blades sharper, arrows tipped with bone, needles for sewing clothes. They adorned themselves with shells, beads, and pigments, the earliest sparks of art and identity. In their hands, the world itself seemed to transform, bent by imagination. Slowly they spread outward from Africa, their voices and footsteps carrying them across continents. Some met the Neanderthals in Europe and the Denisovans in Asia, and for a time they shared the earth. They intermingled, exchanged not just tools but bloodlines. To this day, in the genes of modern people, traces of those ancient meetings remain. But in the end, it was Homo sapiens who endured. Their creativity, their adaptability, and their unyielding drive pushed them across deserts, mountains, and seas. They built communities, wove myths, and dreamed of worlds that did not yet exist. They were us, the same species that now gazes at the stars, builds cities of glass and steel, and records these very stories. From the forests where Sahelanthropus once climbed, to the plains of Australopithecus, to the firelit journeys of Homo erectus, and now to the birth of modern humans. It had been a journey of millions of years. Each ancestor carried the torch a little farther, each step building toward the emergence of beings who could wonder, who could love, who could create. The long road of evolution had led here to us, to the storytellers, the builders, the dreamers, to humanity standing at the threshold of history, ready to write not just survival, but civilization itself. And so we reach the gentle close of this long journey. The story of evolution is not just etched in fossils or scattered across ancient bones. It lives within us, from the fragile steps of Sahelanthropus, to the upright stride of Australopithecus, to the firelit nights of Homo erectus, and finally the voice and vision of Homo sapiens. Each ancestor carried the torch forward. Each step was not an ending, but a continuation, a whisper of survival that flows into your very veins. As you lie here, ready to drift into sleep, remember, you are not alone. You are part of a lineage, millions of years in the making. The endurance of your ancestors' lives in your heartbeat, in your breath, in the quiet spark of thought that makes you dream. You are the result of resilience, of adaptation, of countless lives that came before. Close your eyes and let the weight of time surround you. Imagine the fires that once flickered in dark caves, the hands that shaped stones into blades, the voices that first told stories under the stars. All of that lives inside you now. You are both the present and the echo of the past, the living chapter of a story that began long before your name was ever spoken. Picture yourself drifting through time, past the stone tools scattered on riverbanks, past the footprints pressed into ancient mud, past the faces of ancestors who gazed at the same moon you see today. Every moment of endurance, every breath of courage, every quiet night of survival has carried you here. You are, in truth, a miracle. The living proof of survival across millions of years. Let that thought bring peace. Feel the calm of knowing you belong to something vast and unbroken. You are connected to all who came before, and all who will come after. The fire that once warmed the hands of our ancestors now warms your heart. The dreams they once held of safety, of love, of tomorrow, now live in you. As you surrender to sleep, let your breath grow slower, softer, deeper. Let your body rest, as if you are lying under the same stars that guided travelers across the ages. Each exhale carries away worry. Each inhale fills you with the strength of generations. You are part of the long river of humanity, flowing gently into tomorrow. And as you drift into dreams, know this: the story of humanity is not finished. You are its living continuation, adding your own light, your own voice, your own dreams to the endless song.